Hello, everybody. It is me, Justy, and it's my podcast. It's my podcast. Hello. Welcome to, I think it's episode 21 of Within the Flesh. Yeah, episode 21. Congratulations, everyone. We made it over the 20th mark. I think it's pretty good. I have been able to make great strides with this podcast ever since I started it, all the way back in. Let's go see. August 3rd of 2023, and I've been uploading a podcast usually every Thursday. I know I've missed a few Thursdays, but you know, I've been doing somewhat decent, trying to keep a good rhythm to it. But yeah, welcome. Questions and answers will be talked about later in the podcast, so be sure to tune on into that section if you did ask a question. If you didn't, then I guess you can just listen to the whole podcast, baby. um. Anyways, for this podcast, I'd like to possibly talk about loneliness. I've kind of noticed that in a lot of people nowadays that even though we live in an age where it's easy to connect on the internet and all that, I can't help but notice it feels like a lot of people are still very lonely. And I've definitely been in that situation before where it feels very lonesome, even though you have all these avenues to try and connect to people. And I kind of want to question that. It's been kind of bugging me in a way because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I'm starting to wonder now that I just bring it up. But you know how there's introverts and extroverts and all that stuff? Is it just that, but on a much wider scale? You know, I feel like introverts may huddle together, like, you got all those classic movies where they're like, "Ah, yeah, we got the nerds are in the basement playing Dungeons and Dragons together," right? And I imagine nerds are very much introverted type people, right? But now people don't really have to stick together, you know what I mean? Like there is so much access to the World Wide Web that there's really no need to stick around with just one type of group. It's like you can go and you can join any kind of group, be part of anything that you want, you want to be. This is strictly talking about online, you know. I'm not really the type of person who's out there every day, you know, going around and visiting all kinds of different places or finding out, where to find people in real life or something like that. Which is, I don't know, I guess kind of part of the topic that people really don't feel able to connect with people online or offline. You know, it seems like they are in a, uh, what would you call it? They're just kind of stuck. They can't make friends online because they don't have the skills to do so, and they can't make friends offline because they still don't have those skills. There's, I guess in general, you could just say they don't have the skills to make friends. They don't have those social abilities, I suppose. Which I'm trying to figure out where I would place myself within it. Maybe you can comment and tell me what you are. Are you more introverted or more extroverted? I kind of read something that was like people can be omnivert or ambivert or something like that. And at that point, I'm just like, man, this is just bibble babble. This is just like bonus edition content. This is just like made up fucking shit, bro. Come on. But it kind of does make sense a little bit. At least in ambivert, which is someone who can display both characteristics of an introvert and an extrovert, in certain situations. Like with family, you may be introverted, whereas with friends, you may be extroverted or something like that. But I don't know. I don't think we should put labels on everything, you know? I think that's just called being normal, you know? Anyways, continuing on. Um, yeah, it just strikes me as odd that we live in, you know, we live in an age where information is so easily gained and so is the ability to connect with people. And yet I see so many people who have issues being able to connect with others. And you know what? I'm gonna probably put myself up on there. Like, I don't know. I guess as a kid, it was kind of easy to do that online because you didn't really. I don't know. It's kind of like when you don't have friends, right? I imagine it's a lot easier to try and make them. You know what I mean? Like, if you have zero friends, then you don't have anything to lose with trying to get new friends, right? You may go into a different clique. You may want to try out something new, something crazy, or something like that, right? But I feel like if you already have like a nice little gaggle of friends, you know, it can be difficult to try and reach out to different things that might either oppose what they think or, you know, simply that activity that the other group may do um may just take up the time you could be spending with, you know, the gaggle of friends you got. I don't know. It's tough, I suppose. I think it has to do with the availability of it, you know. I don't think a lot of people nowadays want friends or best friends or anything like that. Or maybe they do, but they want like the perfect best friend. They want the bestest of friends, you know. They want someone who's like their dream of a friend, you know. And I think they have this ideology because they are on the internet where anyone can meet, you know? That's kind of like the underlying promise is that you can go into any group, meet any people, you know? And I think that's just how it is that a lot of people will sacrifice something that they do have for something that they could have, you know? Um, it kind of relates to dating a little bit that a lot of people are becoming less satisfied with their relationships because they can see that they are able to possibly find someone better, you know? Like it's what is it? People see kind of stories or videos, right? Something popular that's happening. It's all like, oh, look at these people. They're so good together, right? I can find someone like that, right? And when they go out to look for that, they want to find the perfect somebody just right away. But that's not really how the world works, you know? It's I don't know. It's very interesting. There seems to be like beggars and choosers, you know. as as weird of a comparison that is to make, it seems like there are people who beg for some amount of attention out there, either friendship or love or something like that. Um, and they just can't find anything. They can't connect with people on a personal level in like the least bit. It may even seem impossible for those people, and I think that's something that's truly tragic is some people will feel alone like that for years upon years, you know, just never knowing someone on an interpersonal kind of level, I suppose. It's, I don't know. I used to kind of be like that, not the whole years upon years or some bibble babble like that, but you know, I am very much a person who is much more self-reliant, I suppose. I don't know. That's kind of like a stupid word to use, right? Like I'm self-reliant. I don't need nobody, you know. But that's kind of how I've always been as well myself. Is that it's like, well, you know, I I can't find anyone else to connect with. Right. I don't think I don't know. So I do a lot of streaming when I'm not doing podcasts and all that. And I think that's how I got most of the people that I know. So it's not like I ever tried to actively go out and search for those people. And maybe that's the reason why um you know, like all that time before I didn't really have any other choice or any ability to try and go search for some kind of friendship or something like that cuz um it's always been just people finding me, right? And I don't know. I'm trying to put it into words that like it's difficult to go and try and find what you're looking for, right? Especially if you don't know what you're looking for, right? And I don't think old Justy knew exactly what he was looking for. And it's just I don't know. I'm trying to fit it into words. It's difficult to try and actively search for someone. Like, where would you even begin? I suppose that's why I'm coming up short with words or anything. Some kind of discussion is because I'm trying to figure out the situation in my head before I voice my opinion on it. Like, where would you go to search for someone? What do you do to find a cure for loneliness when you're in that position, right? And the best answer I'm coming up with is to just find people who share like the same interest as you, right? Um, so like gaming or art or some kind of fandom community. I don't know, whatever you like. But I guess in my own particular issue is that like I find that kind of stuff that some people are interested in as well. And it's good to talk about it, right? But then it's like that one thing that happens. I don't know which episode I talked about it on, but I get that deep feeling of like, well, if they like something to an obsessive amount, I can't like that. Or like, ew, that's gross. So maybe that's why old Justy was kind of stuck in a lone kind of spheres that it's like, uh well, let's go see if anyone else likes Ape Escape, right? And you go to see and it's like, oh, hello. How's it going, everyone? Is those people might just avalanche with just information about the game or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to find people that aren't like that obsessed, you know. I guess that's like a good way to describe it is that um the obsession just gets to be too much, I suppose. Even if it is something that I like. Maybe the issue is that when you bring that up to someone, right? Or not that you bring it up to someone, but it's a matter of comparison. You know? It's like, well, they like it a whole lot more than me, so that makes me like not like it anymore because they won't shut the fuck up about it. Maybe that's the issue. Okay, anyways, enough about me. Let's get back to the general topic of introverts and extroverts and all that. And then, there was the one side of beggars, right? We talked about it. We said that, people will be alone for a good majority of their life. Possibly. There's some people who have just minimal, like little sparks of some kind of connection with someone, right? But they can never fully achieve that, right? And then there's choosers, and I don't even know how these people do it. And I think that firmly places me in the beggars area, which, sounds pretty shitty, to be a beggar of connection or something like that. But there's some people who just, you know, what I like to call them in my own terms is like travelers or something like that. Way spirited people. Because they can go on to like any amount of Discord servers. And I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying like Discord is the end all be all. But when it comes to Discord, there's just tons of servers, you can join any amount. And it's like these people are able to just kind of, come in and out of them without a care. I don't know if it's like me. I don't know. Maybe it is a little bit like me. Maybe I'm a little bit of a chooser myself, but um I guess maybe in the grand sense it's that everyone has their own personal server kind of thing. Not like they made their own server, but I mean like they put all of their attention or 90% of their attention on one server that they want to appreciate the most, right? What meanwhile like the other 10% goes towards like all these other servers where they can just dip in, dip out. They're just there for the moment. They're not there to truly invest time or something like that in. But that's just Discord itself. There's plenty of other ways of connection. There's video games, there's forums, there's websites, all that good shit, right? And I feel like there's just an inability to connect on an interpersonal level. And I think that's due to the mass amount of connections you could have. You know, why would you settle for one friendship when you could try and get a new one or go off and get some cool new people, right? Like, especially if, everyone has their issues in life, right? Some people are alcoholics, some people, have had personal issues in their life. Some people have actual, disorders with them. There's neurotypical, neurodivergent people and all that shit. Um, and I think, I don't know, it's like sometimes I imagine that people will look at, what they have currently and be like, this is good. This is nice, but maybe I can do better. I guess to apply this in a real life sort of way, but more of an ancient classical way is like you know, it's like those movies where it's like those movies. It's like those movies where uh it's like the normal girl or the less popular girl. She finally gets to hang out with the cool kids and the popular girl and all that. And or no, I was gonna say, and then the popular girl's like, "Ha, we were just kidding, lol." But it's more of a situation where you know the two girls grow up together, right? And one becomes popular, and the other one is just kind of normal and all that shit, right? And the popular one's like, "Ah, well, I wish I could stay friends with you, but bye. I gotta go hang out with my popular friends." You know, no, it's a hard thing to, I guess, get past. To try and find those connections. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people might not even have an issue with this. I don't know. Then again, like this is me, my brain going 900 miles per hour, just so I can quickly contradict myself with a different statement. I gotta be on the fence, usty, okay? But I say that maybe some people don't have issues with that, but then I'm reminded that a ton of people feel so freaking lonely nowadays. Like, let me go see if I can pull up a random Google search statistic, like that matters. But let me go take a quick look. How many people feel lonely in the world today? Let's see. In general, rates of reported loneliness are similar between men and women. Global results show that 24% of both men and women report feeling very or fairly lonely. In most countries, there is little to no gender difference in rates of feeling lonely, but substantial gender gaps do exist. Huh. Almost a quarter of the world feels lonely. Okay, come on, man. You don't gotta put like that. What is the loneliness rate? 24% people. That is crazy. What percent of the world is lonely? 33%. Are 3 out of 5 Americans lonely? Nearly 3 in 5 US adults are considered lonely. Holy shit. So yeah, I guess it really does there is quite a issue going on that a lot of people are feeling very, very lonely. 52% of Americans report feeling lonely. 47% report their relationships with others aren't meaningful. Oh my gosh. 59% of Americans say they have a best friend. 12% say they feel they don't have any close friends. You see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people may have friend groups, right? Um Gosh, that 47% one got me though. 47% of people are basically like, yeah, this is good and all, but I don't feel anything from this. That's just crazy to me. Oh my gosh, 47% just don't feel like there's any meaning to that uh friendship or relationship. You see, and that's the thing as well. Is that a statistic about um just general feeling of being wanted by others? Is it a statistic on people feeling lonely in the regard of companionship, either with friends or with lovers? It's just really crazy to see that. And again, I've never really had my own issue of loneliness. I guess because I've always had um I don't know. I've always been a big boy. You know what I mean? I'm a big boy. No, but at least for myself, that I kind of grew up with no friends. I kind of got used to it. And I was like, well, this is just how it is. Just get used to it. And maybe that's why I'm so difficult to try and open up to new friendships because it's not a state of default. It is not what should be the default status for me. You know, I'm a lone wolf. No, but I think that's a big reason why I don't open myself up, and maybe that's a whole reason why a lot of other people don't open up as well, because they're like, well, I I'm supposed to be lonely, and that's how it's gonna be. Oh, it's like my nose is all stuffy. Ugh, okay. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think maybe a lot of people might feel that way as well. They can't open up it's pretty, if you think about it, if all those lonely men and all those lonely women got together, maybe there'd be zero lonesomeness. But um yeah, I think it's just going to be a difficult time for everyone to try and open up and to try and be close to others, I suppose. I don't know. Anyways, go die. No, I'm just kidding. I think a good way to open up uh not open up, but a good way to try and start a friendship is to open up. You know, maybe the real issue is the lack of effort. Not to say people who try don't have the effort. Listen, I gotta fence right a little bit more. No, but I mean, people should probably try and put in decent effort and put it where it counts as well. Like, if you feel lonely in life, where it's coming to the point where you can't handle it, right? You have to put in the change, even if it means changing who you are, right? If you go around and you're like, yeah, I fucking hate your stuff, man. Let's talk about my stuff, though, right? Or if you're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and talk about my stuff, though. No one wants to be around you, right? I'm just gonna straight up and say it right now, okay? Don't be so self-centered and maybe open the fuck up and listen to other people and what their interests are, right? I know it's difficult. Listen, okay? I get it. No one wants to hear about anyone else's others shit, okay? No one cares. But you gotta think that's how people are thinking about you, right? When you open up about your fucking Bible story and all that, like no one cares. Stop talking. But here's the thing, right? If you open up and you listen to other people talk about shit, right? Maybe they might open up and listen to you talk about shit too. Simple is as simple be. No, I don't know. There's lots of different ways to go about it. There is really no correct way of um, trying to connect to somebody. I feel like deep in my soul that the easiest way to connect is to hang around people who might share the same topic as you. Not same topic, what am I, stupid? The same hobby or interest as you, right? Don't directly just go after anyone and be like, oh, you want to be my friend? Hello? No. You have to see who might interest you the most, right? And, you know, maybe you might try and go after the popular person, right? And be like, we're friends. We're friends, right? Please. But if they don't want to be your friend, don't give up hope, you know? There are lots of other people that also might share that same interest as you. Lots of people that are cool, you know? I don't know. I think everyone just needs a little bit of an energy boost in order to put in the effort to try and make friends. I think maybe that's the biggest issue, right? Is that it requires effort somewhat to be friends with others. Like you have to watch what you say around them. You have to, you know, again, you have to listen to them sometimes, talk about garbage and trash. And like, okay, I don't really care. Okay. um, but it takes effort, and I don't think a lot of people have it. And maybe those people who are struggling to even find a small amount of friendship don't have that effort, and they just kind of want someone to carry the whole thing for them, which kind of makes sense. But you want to know what we call that? We call that therapy. If you want someone to just listen to you and maybe help you out with life and tell you what to do and maybe be interested in your hobbies, go to a fucking therapist, okay? They'll give you all the attention. They'll give you great advice. They'll talk with you. Pay them. Pay them. No, but yeah, I think I think it's all about the energy and needing to put in some of it in order to get some of it out. As stupid as that sounds, right? I don't know. You just you gotta. I don't know. I I think that's basically it. You know, I'm trying to find something else to add on top of that. Like, oh, make sure you be friendly. Make sure you do this. But it really just comes down to put in the effort to try and get to know people. You know, Not everyone's going to come up to you. Uh, it's kind of like me. You know, I was just streaming one day, and then people started to come and watch. Uh, Even then, right? Like, let me go ahead and insert myself into the situation as well. But even when I streamed something, right? It's not like people came in and wanted to listen to me exactly, right? Some people, I would stream their games, right, and they would come in and they would talk about their interest, right? And of course, I could have just been like, okay, that's cool. Oh, okay, right? But I gotta put in the effort, right? You have to put in the effort if you want anything to change. And what I would do is I would ask them, why did they like the game? What's the most interesting part to them? How do they feel about it? You know? And you gotta think, it's like, do I really want to know? Probably not. No, probably not. Is this gonna help me out in life? Probably not. But I think through some of those, I was able to finally develop some amount of friendship, right? Even if I didn't want to admit to it. I think that is what happened. I was able to develop some kind of friendship, you know, and kind of regulate that. Although I will say that there have been multiple times where I think the amount of care I put into the friendship just didn't last or it didn't matter. That's because I don't know. There's lots of times where you may feel unappreciated. Maybe, you know, it's nothing but a give and take world, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who are like endless batteries of being able to entertain and be interested in your stuff, right? And then there's just some people who don't, and they just want to take, and they're like, "Ah, talk about me, please," right? um I could, I feel that sometimes, right? But I know that some other people may also feel that, like people that I talk to might be like, "Man, this guy just never shuts the fuck up. When's he gonna ask about me, huh?" Right? um, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a give and take. It's an energy, you know. People gotta have the energy to put in the effort, and you have to kind of regulate that once you do get that kind of friendship, or at least that amount of like being able to connect with someone. You have to be able to regulate it. Don't let yourself get used up like you're some kind of therapist, right? But also don't use other people like that either. You know, people have their own lives and their own worries and all. You can't just bombard them with your own issues, But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't ever bring them up. Okay, and now you can go die. No. But no, I think that's a good stopping point for the whole loneliness discussion, how to try and conquer it. I guess if I was to TL what is it? Colon comma, what is that? An ampersand? No, that ampersand is the and one. I don't know what fucking signal that is. What is that? Let me go type this into Google real quick. No, it's semicolon. Semicolon, right? Hold up. Hold up. Semicolon. It is a semicolon. Motherfucker. Sorry, I kind of forgot it there for a moment. Um TL semicolon DR, right? Um is that first off, you have to be good with yourself. You have to be a-okay. Don't be a fucking mess, right? You can be a little bit of a mess, right? Some people might like that. Some people might view you as a project that they can fix up, right? Which is kind of fucked up. But at least you'll have someone, right? Anyways, first step is that. Second step is to put yourself out there, right? Go to people or communities either on Discord, Reddit, Facebook. Not Facebook, that's where old people. Maybe Facebook, Twitter, all these other places. Steam, video games, all this shit, right? Whatever interests you, go find it out there. Go be part of the community, right? Make it your goal to be part of the community. If you can handle people just being obsessed and talking about it 24/7, right? And then once you're there, look for someone. It can be anyone who may interest you, who may be like, oh, Bibble Babble, right? And you might be like, oh, that's a cool person. I wouldn't mind hanging out with them, right? Then three is that you have to give and take, right? You have to put in a little bit of effort to get a little bit of effort back, right? And it's just like all those posts out there, right? You'll see people like lifting a rock off of a dog, or it'll be like some person stopping a mugger, right? And you'll always see the comment down below, and it says, "We need more people like this in the world," right? And then you'll see the next comment underneath it that says, "Stop saying we need more people in this world like this. Be the people that we need in this world," right? Well, that's what I'm gonna say. So you need to be the people you want to, have in your life. Be a good friend. Be a good listener. Be a good, uh, an active listener in a discussion, right? Talk about people's interests, and then maybe you'll get the same treatment back. But yeah. And then the fourth step, I think, is what we were on. Maybe regulate that, and just build upon it. You know, nowhere else but up from that point. And I think that's how you can get past loneliness. You know, I guess the real mystery question is, where do you get that energy? Where's the untapped source of energy where you can draw from in order to put in the effort to do all that shit? And the honest thing is that it's got to come from you. You know, you might be drained of it, all kinds of energy or anything like that, but it's got to come from you, right? You can either do a passive kind of thing where you can just hope and you can pray that someone wants to talk to you, right? But at that point, you gotta act real crazy or real stupid or something that makes you stand out, right? If you're not gonna put in the effort to go find someone else, you gotta be something that stands out, but in a good way, right? Because if you start bibble babbling too much or you start being annoying, people aren't gonna like you, and it's gonna be the reverse of a friendship. It's gonna be a hate. It's gonna be enemies. Okay. But yeah, that's basically all I got to say. Loneliness. I hope anyone who's listening might be able to share their own opinion on it. Maybe let everyone know how you were able to get friends or how you were able to find people or something like that. Maybe just share how much of a lonely, sad fucking person you are. Be like, help, please, I'm gonna kill myself. Um, no, but I'd love to hear anyone's opinion on. Maybe be like, Justy, I agreed with you all up until step number 3. Like, what, you want me to actually listen to people? Go fuck yourself, man. Disliked, unsubscribed, long die, idiot. Anyways, um yeah, I think that's a good topic, right? I can't make this too long. I'm already like, I'm gonna be an hour late or something like that to upload this, so it's got to be like a somewhat short podcast. Oops. Oh, what, you wanted a long one? Oops. Go die. Let me go see. Uh, I want to do the random icebreaker question. I love doing that. It got me that one time, and I was just like, you know. Let me go find it real quick. There we go. 330 icebreakers plus an icebreaker generator. Let's give it a few clicks. Pipple, papple, pipple, papple. Pipple, papple. What's one pro? Ooh, here we go. What's one productivity tool you couldn't live without, and what makes it indispensable? So for that, I gotta say, computer, 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 computer. Dude, it hit me like a freaking ton of bricks when I was a kid, right? I was just playing on my Xbox 360. I was like, oh, these are so much fun. I love playing Minecraft on Xbox 360. Wow! Right? But then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Once I started watching people play Gmod and I realized I couldn't play Gmod on the fucking Xbox 360, right? I was like, fuck this. I hate my life and I hate everything, right? And I made the jump to PC. And let me tell you, it is fantastic. I can't imagine a world without a computer. Um at least in its current form. I don't know if one day they will start adding paywalls to it. If they're gonna be like, oh, you gotta pay a subscription to Windows 10 if you want access to the internet. Whoa! You never know what they might do. But it's been fantastic being able to use all kinds of softwares and applications on it, like Blender, right? Um, but no, it's been pretty good. I would definitely say that there's been some moments where I think it would have not been good for little Justy, like maybe him going on so many pornography sites and looking at all the boobies and all that. You know, I think maybe that shouldn't have been part of Justy life. But, you know, that's what happens when you don't got a hands-on parent. Not to entirely blame my mom or anything like that, but you know, it's she barely is able to work in computer. Like she's like, oh, where's the mouse go? How do I use the mouse? Where do I go? What do I click on? Right? And it's like, lady, I feel sorry for you, but I hope I never reach that point. If I will say that much, but I think the big technology jump is over with. I don't think we're getting anywhere except a big nuclear bomb on our heads. LOL. But yeah, I definitely think the PC is one of the greatest productivity tools. It allowed me to go and stream and be able to put together so many things. Like at least with my creativity side, my artistic side, it's been really great allowing me to open up and to just kind of make what I want to make. And uh I originally got it for games, right? But I realized I could do so much more on it. Like watch YouTube videos. I can do so much more. Like pirate TV shows. Whoa, Um no, it's pretty good. It's a really good device. Um it's I think what got me the most when I was a kid playing on a console is that you have to pay for internet and then you have to also pay in order to play games online with your friend. What happened to my mouth? Play online games with your friends. I forgot the S's there, I guess. Um, that is just so crazy to me. Like, as a logical person, it just doesn't make any sense. You're telling me I have to pay for, like, if you ever want to like just fuck me up, just give me something that doesn't make sense with money, and I will just it's like Christmas lights. It's like untangling Christmas lights for me. It's like I'm just gonna be there being like that. I'm trying to make logical sense out of this, but it just doesn't make sense. But to have to pay for not only internet, but also, you know, Xbox Live, right? We'll just go with Xbox because that's who I was as a kid. Xbox Live. Then you got to pay for the game. Then you got to pay for the controller. Then you got to pay for the TV, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. And that's all it does, by the way. Like, I will admit, there is the feature of buying a show and buying stuff. like music on there. But if you get a PC, right, you can do like most of that for free. Like that's crazy to me, right? No one's restricting my access to the internet right now. If I want to get on the internet right now, I can get on the internet. In fact, that's how I uploaded this podcast. I went on the internet, right? For free. But having to pay for all that stuff just seemed crazy to me. And I think that's what really made me move over. And it's interesting how simply just a game such as Gmod can change someone's life in such a huge way, right? Like I can reference a whole bunch of Gmod videos, but to imagine that made like the big change in me. Like, because I remember a lot of my Xbox 360 friends were like, "Where'd you go? Where are you? Whoa!" Right? And I'm like, "I'm dead on here, low." But I just moved to PC. Like, easy as fucking fixing my life, baby. Um, but yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good icebreaker. Let me go ahead and go look at the Discord, and maybe we can go see what we can find, baby. Let me go take a little look-sees. Hey. Hello? Sorry, my phone's very slow. I will say that, you know, as long as you're not a fucking. Listen here, bucko. Listen here, buddy. Okay? As long as you're not a phone user, okay? As long as you're not playing Roblox on your fucking phone, I won't hurt you. But if you are, oh, you're gonna get hurt bad. Anyways, let's see. We have more questions from Ben. He asks, or I guess just says, because there's no question mark at the end. Hello. Anyways, similar to a question I had asked before, but proportion wise, how screwed up do you think the new generation is going to be growing up with screens shoved in their face and being shoveled slop in their eyes, with parents being rather non contact with what their children are watching? Reference is that one video I posted in Random Room. So, to answer that, kill yourself. Well, okay, bye. No. Anyways, um, I think we're gonna be fine. You know, I think we're gonna be a-okay and all that good shit. I don't know. I remember growing up. Listen, I'm gonna hit it with one of them boring ass little bitch stories here, okay? But when I was growing up, I remember people saying the same shit to me. It's like, oh, he's on the computer all the time. He needs to go out. He's gonna grow up to be a serial killer because everyone who plays video games is a fucking killer, right? And I think that's the same situation with the Generation Alpha or whatever. I just, I don't know. I don't understand how people can just kind of toss them in the trash, you know? It's like, look at what you were doing when you were a fucking kid, people. It's like, were you any different? Were you not fucking doing dumb shit as well? Were you not, oh, I don't know, wasting your life on retarded stuff? Like, I don't know. I feel so bad for each new generation. It's like the old ones just have to fucking take a big dookie on them each time. That's not even towards Bin, who asked the question. It's towards everyone else on the internet who's like, these children are out of control. It's like, shut the fuck up. You may have a point, but come on, shut up. No, I'm thinking about that one teacher who's like, oh, listen, as a teacher, I am posting and I'm saying that these children are out of line, man. They can't, oh man, they're not learning, right? And I'm willing to admit to that. I think that's a big issue with at least generation alpha is that they have been kind of fed into the social aspects of life. I think they're very socially like interesting, I suppose. Um but I think with a lot of skills in life, they don't want to learn it, right? Because everyone's a influencer nowadays. Everyone's a funny YouTuber, right? For any 2000s era children on here, right? I riddle you this. When you were a little kid, did you not look at YouTube and say, "Oh, I want to be like PewDiePie. I want to be like Markiplier. I want to I want to play games like them and be so cool." Right? And you wanted to be that. But the thing is that you're not, right? Or let's consider it like this as well. You may have tried, but eventually you kind of grew up and you're like, wait a second, this isn't going to work out, right? I think they will have that realization. But I think another part to play in that, which I think is the only opposing force to like the realization, is that back in 2000, it was like only a distinct few amount of people were on the top, baby. They were hitting that 1 million or something, right? Or not 1 million. They'd be hitting like 100,000. It's like, whoa, whoa, this is crazy. Right? But they were distinct. You could tell who was the big YouTubers versus who was the little YouTubers, right? But now there are so many big YouTubers, right? There are so many different distinct communities around these people, even in their own genres. Like in gaming, it's not a one suit fits all kind of thing. There are multiple different big gamers, big Twitch streamers, right? Or anything like that. So it's not like one or two people. It's like, oh, all of these people are big influencers. I'm going to try and be like them, right? I'm going to try and be silly, goofy, wacky. But I don't know. Will it sustain? Will it keep that effect of, oh, I can do anything with my ability of being an influencer, or will they finally say, you know what? Time to get real. I'm going to go be a plumber, dude. Lol. I think we're at a big conflict point, which is that the older generation does not want to teach, but at the same point, the newer generation does not want to learn. I think that's evident in both points, right? I think it's very much like the newer generation will want to learn in their way, right? Whereas the older generation will want to teach in their way, right? I don't know. It's tough to say. It, it's kind of gone a reverse way, hasn't it? Like, it used to be that teachers would pull out a fucking paddleboard and hit you. I can only imagine what that was like. But it's like teachers could do that. They could like fuck up your whole life if they wanted to, right? But then they kind of lost power. They lost power and they lost power. And for me growing up, I know that a lot of teachers had to be really tiptoey about what they did, or boom, lawsuit, boom, lawsuit, boom, lawsuit, right? I think that may have affected how much power teachers had over their students, right? And I think the younger generation understands that, and that they don't have to deal with that. I guess I'm dealing more with schools. What am I talking about? I'm just, I'm just kind of being like, oh, schools, schools, schools. When Ben was asking about fucking, what is it? New generation is going to be growing up with screens shoved in their face and being shown slop in their eyes, with parents being rather non-contact with what their children are watching. Okay, yeah. So, um, I think it's gonna be fucked. a little bit, at least for a tiny bit. But I think it's important to try and give these kids like the ability to be respected. You know, I don't know. It's tough to say exactly what to do in this situation. I've heard some stories where like the students won't respect you regardless of any position, right? But it's also like, I don't know. I blame the parents. Let's blame the parents. Isn't it always interesting? I'll put it like this, okay? Isn't it always interesting that parents are never the ones to blame for any kind of action or inaction towards their children, right? But everything else is to blame. I think that's stupid. Okay? I'm going to have a big freak out right now over this because it's so dumb. You're telling me that the reason why Jimmy doesn't want to learn is because of the teachers? Maybe. I can believe a little bit about that. Maybe the teachers are fucking being dipdos, right? But are you going to say that you didn't have any part in it when you're coming home from work and you're not acting like not acting, when you're not, what is it, participating with your children? When you're not seeing what they're up to, when you're not guiding them like a parent should be? Hello, they came out of your penis or your vagina, okay? Maybe, I don't know, take some fucking action and do something with them. I don't know. Don't dump your fucking kids off on the rest of the world. You know. I don't know. That's my whole issue. I think a lot of people don't even want to have kids because the world is poop ass. Right? It's poop ass right now. And a lot of people don't want to deal with little children. I don't know. I guess in an ideal kind of world. Again, this is fantasy land right now. So bear with me when I start babbling all this dumb shit at you and you're like, dude, you're stupid. This isn't real. Get off your high horse. Right? In an ideal world, um, parents wouldn't feel the need to work themselves to death just to pay the bills. I think that they would be able to um, spend their money in a good way to where they don't have to worry about bills. Not I'm not saying everyone needs a free ride or anything like that, but I'm saying like jobs would be more available, they would be more reasonable, right? And people wouldn't have to feel like they have to work themselves to death just to make sure that their family gets by, right? And that would open up more time to be with their family and to kind of guide their children on what to do, maybe spend quality time with their children instead of throwing a iPad in their face and being like, "Okay, well, I gotta take a 5 hour nap before I gotta get back to work. So here you go. Here's poo poo papa pee pee on your screen." Right? I think a lot of children would be able to have parents in their life. Even just one parent can make a difference. You know, two parents ideally, but one parent good enough that just can be there with them. You know, and I think in that regard, children would be able to understand and be able to look at adults with more respect and be able to see them as people to look up to, I suppose. Maybe the real reason why all this is happening is that the people that, these children are watching are not, respectful people, you know? Maybe they're watching girls get into cat fights online. You don't know. Maybe they're watching Sigma male videos where it's like, you need to beat your wife if she doesn't listen to you, or you're not a Sigma male and you have a tiny penis, right? But again, that goes into blaming, those people rather than the parents. No, I don't know. I definitely think that a lot of the issues in the world would be solved if parents were more involved with their children, right? Or children, parents involved with their parents, And it's kind of a both ways, but you as a parent you have to put in the effort to try and make your children learn or become attached to what you like. You can't just force them. And if they don't want to like what you like, maybe try and see what they like. I think that's the big issue is just parents not being able to be there with their kids and interact and to be a guide for them, I guess, in the end. I know I've kind of been a whole bibble babble this whole time throughout this whole podcast. So I'll also TLDR that whole section. But to answer your question, Ben, what do I think about the next generation of them just being like iPad babies and all that? I think it'll be fine. It's going to be very different, but what generation didn't have a different or weird kind of generation, you know? There's always been some kind of weird one, a defining kind of thing around a generation, right? There's been hippies, there's been greasers, there's been all kinds of doggy doo doo throughout the years of life through humans and all that. And I don't think this will be any different, you know? I know that the 2000s had a lot of edgy or goth types, people who said XD or RAR or LOLs or can I has a cheeseburgers? Can I please has a cheeseburgers? Anyways, I think each generation has their own shit to deal with. I think the best thing we can do when it comes to the new generation is to try and support them rather than to just shit on them. Be like, oh, you're a skibbity toilet obsessed uh fucker, lol, you're cringe. I don't know. Look to what the past generations have done and question whether you want to do that to the next. Do you want to grow up kind of criticizing the next one, being like, ah, you're fucking stupid, you're an idiot. You know, I guess my number one thing to say about that is if there is some kind of young generation that is trying to learn something, right? This goes for any generation, any people, doesn't matter. If there is someone who is trying to learn something, right? You can make fun of them a little bit, but not a whole lot, okay? it would be ideal if you just helped them and tried to make them understand and be like, oh, this is how this works, uh try and teach them. But if you want to make fun of them a little bit, I think that's for it. But yeah, I think that'll be it for the podcast, everyone. I kind of said this was going to be a short one, but here we are, an hour into it, and it will babble. So, thanks everyone for watching. Again, if you did like watching, feel free to comment down below. Maybe talk about your own experiences with loneliness. Maybe your own, uh, what was it? Your own productivity tool that you couldn't live without, and what makes it indispensable. And then maybe what your opinion on I think it's alpha generation? Maybe your opinion on what the alpha generation is going to be like, you know, with not being able to be taught anything because they're not being able to understand things and all that. Oh, that's one last thing I'll say before I end this in the podcast, right? I was about to say stream there, but um I think that's another thing. The whole 2 years of online schooling probably fucked up a lot of people. I don't think it's skibbity toilet. I don't think that's it at all. It was more than likely the 2 years of not being able to interact with anyone else around them and kind of having that dystopian feel of like, oh, everything is online now, so I guess I have to be online now. Oop, 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 oop. Right? Um, yeah, that probably did a big number on everyone, just to be honest. But anyways, yeah. Thanks everyone for watching the podcast. I appreciate it. Comment down below your favorite parts, maybe your in favorite parts. Talk about what we talked about, and definitely ask some questions if strikes your fancy. But okay, I love you too, Lou, and bye bye.